broadcast of It's Time with Reverend Nathaniel W. Martin. Here's Reverend Martin.
Thank you, Dr. Blackwell, and let me say Hotep of Aragani to my Africana Studies compatriots and colleagues and contemporaries, and let me say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, but certainly never good night and never ever goodbye, because personally I always find goodbyes traumatizing. My name is the Reverend Nathaniel Wayne Martin. I'm the pastor of the New Life Institutional Baptist Church here in the city of Los Angeles, and we're located at 8916 South Main Street in the city of Los Angeles, and we're being hosted by our sister church, the Shiloh Missionary Christian Church, which is pastored by my good friend, the Reverend Dr. Della F. Holliness. All right, and if you're in the area and the Spirit so leads you, you're welcome. We invite you to come and share with us at any and all of our services, and you'll be blessed before, amen, you leave. The offering which you are viewing or hearing is entitled It's Time, and it's a social justice aspect of our ministry. And I think in these days and times we are all compelled to be social justice activists, irrespective of our political views, because the tenor of the times makes us and demands that someone speak up and speak out. It's an imperative, really, given the situation around the world and the situation here in the United States, which is similar to the situation around the world, in the killings that are so numerous and and have just seemed to multiply. I didn't know that we're only let's see, 46, 47, 46, 48 days into a new year, but we've had 49 mass shootings, and the mass shooting on Wednesday at the Kansas City Chiefs Victory Parade, before the shooting started, one of the young ladies who was standing with the people, the persons that were beefing, told them, "Don't do it. Don't do it here. This is stupid." But the person, of course, began spinning around and shooting, and he, by the time he was stopped shooting, he had killed one person and wounded 22 others, and the ones that he wounded were likewise young people, same as he was. But this gun violence has an aura. The gun projects a feeling, I guess, of invincibility or of power. God knows when you pull the trigger, you're the weakest person in the world, because the consequences are now coming. And it's however you feel about pulling that trigger, the aftermath is not going to be as you desire or as you wish. They always used to teach us in the Marine Corps that there's just a scared person behind the gun as there is a scared person in front of the gun. And these killings, mass murders, mass shootings are becoming a part of American tradition, American custom. It's traditional as apple pie, baseball and apple pie. Need to put the mass shootings up there, because we, at the rate that we're going, my God, with the people that they're killing overseas and then the people we are killing here at home. I was looking at the Center for Gun Control, Center for American Progress and Gun Violence Prevention Center. They have websites, and I was amazed at how many mass shootings there have been in the United States. We're just killing each other at a record rate. And it's getting so prolific that it doesn't shock the imagination anymore. It doesn't shock the senses. And we should never get so desensitized that we can take killing and murder and homicide and the destruction of human life anywhere in the world as though it were the cost of doing business. Only the munitions manufacturers get to do that philosophy because they're making the profit, they're making the money off of these killings, whether it's overseas or here at home. And I'm told that now they even have what you call a ghost gun. Ghost gun is one that you buy the parts off of the internet. It doesn't have a serial number, and it's impossible to trace. And these are being sold under the auspices of the, and with the blessing rather, of the NRA likewise. And so we are in a mode, a panic mode really, an incredulous, indignant, outrageous mode at the way that we are destroying each other. Murder, homicide, and couple that with the police killings and the police shootings, which never seem to go down. And it's always the black people that are on the receiving end of these murders. And you have to conclude that we are a very violent nation. This nation was conceived in violence. Whatever the beautiful aspirational and inspirational sentiments that we put in our founding documents, never forget that this nation was founded on violence. We violently destroyed the people that we found here and put them on the trail of tears and put them on reservations and dared them to come out. You read some of the dispatches from General Hunter during the Civil War when he was dispatched to quell the Indian uprising. He said, I'm going to exterminate and I'm going to execrate, and all of those types of verbiage, which meant that he was doing what? A genocide. And we condone that genocide. We appropriated the names of the people that we committed genocide against. And we dared them to come out of the reservation. And so these things are documented. They're not whispers, they're documented. The people that say don't teach history like that, well, they're trying to resist the coming forth of the truth. And unfortunately, the problem with the truth, it will never stay dead. Truth crushed to earth will rise again, which was a quotation that Dr. King often made. And he was, of course, quoting another abolitionist of that era. And that's the problem with truth. Remember, they crucified Jesus on a Friday, and they buried him that Friday. But that Sunday morning, he rose from the dead with all power in his hand, because you cannot press the truth down deep enough and hold it down long enough that it will not rise again. Just like cutting down a tree. You cut down the tree over here, and the sprig of it will sprout up a mile away over yonder. That's just the nature of truth. Truth will always come back. And we may say, well, I didn't learn this in school, or it wasn't taught me in history. And that's the problem. If you don't know the truth, then you're not well informed. And most of our educational systems are designed to only equip us to do work. To work for Mr. Charlie, not to think for yourself, just to work for the other person. And life is more than work. Even though God said, in the sweat of thy brow shalt thou eat bread. He did not limit us to just working. He just said that's how you're going to eat bread. That's how you're going to advance. That's how you're going to progress. You would have to work your way. And so it is time for us as a people, as a nation, as a world, as a civilization, to come to grips with the violence that's a bitter legacy of colonialism and of slavery. Yes, colonialism and slavery and imperialism. Don't leave out that bête noire. And so these types of ideas and tactics and strategies are going to be with us until we say enough is enough. And we're going to have to throw off the gun lobby, who have thrown over a blanket over truth, and in the interest of Second Amendment rights, which are in the Constitution. But remember how those Second Amendment rights came about. They came about as in response to the uprisings, not from the Indians, but from the slaves. And that's why the police still shoot any black person that they find with a gun, because the Second Amendment was written because of us, not as a help to us, no, but as a means of curbing the fear that the planter class had, that their servants, that would be a servile, what they call a servile insurrection. That means the people that they were holding in bondage and holding in custody, if you could use that term, may well rise up against their assassins. May well rise up against the people that were oppressing them. And of course, that is self-preservation is first law of nature. Except if you're a black person. Now you can't rise up, because now that's reverse racism. You can't rise up because now you're going to make the man who robs you give back what he stole from you. That's called reparations. And with these type of things proliferating in our world and in our society, we have to reckon with all of these things. And as I've often said on this broadcast, righteousness exalteth the nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And I'm afraid most of us, too many of us, have grown so desensitized and jaundiced that we don't see we're no longer shocked. It's no longer a shock to our system when we hear someone has been murdered or killed or died or even like that. We pass it off as a matter of course. But that is not just to be passed off as a matter of course, because every life has value and every life is significant and every life has to be given account of. And you just can't kill somebody who's not in your class and think that the repercussions will not always be there. I was at a revival this week, and the man was preaching about the fact that David had an illicit affair, an adulterous relationship, as it were, with the wife of one of the people who was a soldier in his army. And that in consequence of that, he not only had sex with Uriah's wife, but when Uriah would not go home And you know, when a soldier is on leave, where do they go? If they're not married, they go down to the brothels. And if they're married, they go home to their wives and their girlfriends. And so but Uriah said, why should I go home to my wife when the army of the Lord is out in the field? So in place of him going home to his wife, who was Bathsheba, he slept out in the open. And when this was noised to David, then David asked him, why didn't he go home? And that was the reply. Why should I, a servant of thine, go home to my wife, and while your servant's army is in the field? And now David had a dilemma because Bathsheba had communicated with him that she was pregnant. And so he said, now I got to hide my guilt, and how I would do it, I will have this man killed. And he had Uriah, he sent a note rather to the captain of the army and said, put Uriah in the front of the battle and withdraw from him. So in other words, if I put you out there in a firefight and I don't back you up, you're going to get killed. And which is exactly what happened. But God didn't let it end there. He had the prophet go and tell Nathan, this is not good. Nathan had sent Nathan the prophet to tell David that you cannot get away with this. And so likewise, we cannot get away with sin by sweeping it under the rug. It has to be acknowledged and repented of. And where possible, reparations have to be made. Some punishment has to be meted out, and all of these things. Which brings me to my point about the Fonnie Willis situation, and she was on the witness stand. She didn't have to come in there because I think the people who were after her had failed to prove that they had a right to go after her, which was that she had somehow benefited from hiring Nathan Wade. And of course that they were able to go in all kind of areas and bring up all kind of information, but not that information that would disqualify her from staying on this case or being over the district attorney's office. And so, but she chose to come in and take the witness stand, even though she didn't have to, and in order to rebut and put the folks straight. Mrs. Merchant, I think, Attorney Merchant, is the one that was the chief instigator of all of these things. Although behind the scenes there was a Mr. Roman who turns out to be that his job is to do oppositional research. And in other words, dig up dirt on the other people so that if I hired him, I would ask him to go dig up all the dirt he could find on my competitors, the other candidates in the race. And so I could snuff them out or expose them like they exposed the Godfather's pizza man. His name doesn't come to mind. But he was exposed for being a womanizer. Well, how did that information come out? Because somebody went in the back and found that out. That's why you call that oppositional research. So if you're going to run for public office, you first hire somebody to run a background check on you to see what skeletons and what vulnerabilities you have from your past. And believe me, they dig deep. And so when they came up, this man, in other words, is the one that brought this forward, the fact that Fonnie Willis, as her name is called, was having a romantic affair with Nathan W, which was somebody she had hired. And after the hiring, sometime later, they developed a fondness for each other, let us put it that way. And the salacious details, the attorney merchant wanted to delve all into that, but Fannie Willis stopped all of that and put her in her place. And I don't think this thing is going anywhere, and I thank God that they won't be able to throw her off the case. I said, I think. Next week, after the judge gets through, you never know. But that's just to show you how things work. And so the Trump attempt to disqualify the Georgia DA from prosecuting him, I believe, is going to fail. I put that in quotes, but I do believe that justice will prevail in spite of the salaciousness and the outrage, moral outrage that we may feel that in the office setting, in the public setting, no matter how we try to say don't do it, the heart wants what the heart wants. And usually that's applied to men, but now we see that women ain't no better when it comes to matters of the heart. And so we applaud the district attorney for surviving this bitter, grinding test. Now, Donald Trump has been found liable by the district attorney, Letitia James, in Georgia. That's one thing. He had too many black women after him. And the judgment today by the Judge Aragon, what is his name? Engoron, Arthur F. Engoron. All right, says it is so ordered that Donald Trump is going to have to pay, I thought I had put that down here, $354,868,768 and some change back to the state of New York, and he is disbarred and not disbarred, disqualified from conducting business for 3 years in the state of New York. And this just came down today. So Donald Trump knows what it feels like to be black now, don't you think? How things come around full circle. Remember way back there about the Central Park 5? He said that these black boys that had been arrested, that became the Central Park 5, should be put to death. In fact, he put up a big billboard to that very effect. And look at him now, how things have come a cropper. Ordered that defenders Donald Trump, the Donald Trump Jr., Donald J. Trump, revocable trust, the trust organization, and all of these type of things. Wow, it's going to have to pay two big sums. The first big sum, I gave you the collected sum, but the first sum is $168,040,168, and then the second sum is $126,828,600, And then, on top of that, it is ordered that defendants Donald Trump, the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, the Trump Organization, and Trump Organization LLC are jointly and severally liable to plaintiff in the amount of $60 million. So this day was not a good day for Donald John Trump. And this is on the civil side. Letitia James is on this one. And you recall he's been slinging mud at Letitia James, and she been fighting back, and she gets the last laugh, and he who laughs last, the old bromide goes laughs the best. And that wasn't all. They ordered Eric Trump to pay $4,013,024, and defendant Alan Weisselberg has got to pay $1 million. My Lord. And they are hereby permanently enjoined from serving in the financial control function of any New York corporation or similar business entity registered or licensed in New York State. All right. And they cannot serve as an officer of any board or director of any New York corporation or any legal entity in New York for a period of 3 years. I won't bore you with the rest of that. A couple of minutes, yeah. But you see, righteousness exalts a nation, but the Bible is full of the fact of the judgments against the rich who lust after the dust upon the head of the poor. And here they try to get you for every dollar, every dime in your pocket. That's what a lot of these devices that we fall for are aimed at, to try to take away your last penny, your last quarter, your last dollar. And you are foolish enough to fall for the scam. But be that as it may, we thank God that there is some justice, some judgment yet in the world. And as I get ready to conclude, again, I say often, as I always say, if you're working for somebody and they don't want to pay you a decent salary, or else they want to hold up your money, hold up your check, and your bills ain't being held up, but they holding up your money, take my advice, start out the right way. Don't waste your life, don't waste your career, don't waste your energy. If they don't want to pay you, don't work for them. Thank you, Doc. We out of here. Love you.
And I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days, and some sleepless nights. But when I look around, and I think
If you have any questions, give me a call back at 909-90.
Outweigh my bad days, yes they do. I just say thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.